endeavors to pass the signals safely. It's true that we are supported department, but then it's also true, which we are not recognized. We can contribute a lot to the earning capability of the Indian Railways. Those days are gone when we were a minor department. I think then we are one of the major contributors for the train operations safely, and now for enhancing of the line capacities throughout the Indian Railways. Positively, if we contribute, it will be definitely enhance the capability of the Indian Railways to earn more. For any organization, there are only two methods of enhancing the railway revenue. Number one, by reducing the cost of operations, and number two, increasing the business. The cost of operation I will cover in passing, because basically cost of operations mean that we have to reduce our working costs, we have to reduce our expenditure, and then improve the maintenance capabilities. Coming to the cost of operations, let me see, all of us through our career have been working to cut the number of failures happening at the stations. And we keep on answering people that, this failure happened due to this reason, that reason, and all this. Right from the beginning of my career, I felt that merely answering the failures is not enough. We have to analyze the failures station-wise, section-wise, supervisor-wise, and find out what is happening. In my younger days, I had made a very simple method of in a graph to put in the horizontal way for each month and list the stations on this thing supervisor-wise, count the total number of failures happening at each station, then same station last month and same station last year.
Sir, Chopra,
it gives you a fairly picture whether the things are going bad or worse, and if there is something needs to be attended. We used to focus along with the supervisors why this is happening. Now, once you start focusing on the particular issues, things start revealing of their own, and
sir,
you find the solutions.
Chopra, sir.
That what are the things are happening and how to rectify them.
Sir, 1 minute, sir. Chopra, sir, can you maximize your presentation, sir? It is in the there's a presentation button will be there at the bottom.
Pardon me, please tell me, please repeat.
No. Actually, sir, presentation, it is coming in your window. Can you maximize it? There will be a presentation mode will be there, sir, at the bottom.
Then I think, Ramana, you kindly do it. I will
no, sir. It's all right, sir. You can, if people are comfortable with the size of the slides,
it's all right. Yes, just a minute.
At the bottom, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Please find out.
To come.
Is it okay?
Now it is okay, sir. Perfect.
Okay, it's okay now.
Perfect, sir.
Okay. Now, just a minute. This my volume has to be reduced. Okay. Now this during my working as CST Western Railway, one of my young officers from RDSO had come to Kotra Division. He came out with the specifications of a data logger. I had no idea what does it contain. Already mentioned that it can scan the entire information of the station signaling system in a matter of seconds. I was excited. We installed data logger in 6 stations in Kotra Division and started reviewing it on daily basis, what it has caught. And it helped us a lot to know that all those failures of Nina, one train failure, signal passing a danger by these drivers came to our notice, and we could advise the management how to do it, how to rectify it. People became aware of it. It reduced the number of failures of their own, thus improving the punctuality of the Kotra division substantially. Excited by this, we sanctioned within our own powers the data loggers for the entire Western Railway right from Mathura to Bombay with excellent results. And I'm very happy that this has been adopted on the entire Indian Railways today with good results. But a word of caution, I still have an impression that data loggers, what they can do is not being utilized to the maximum, the manner it should be. It is only remaining as a data collection by the senior DSTs of the division. The management of the division is still relying on the information supplied by the operational department. This has to change. Wherever all of you are working, the data loggers information what is being given for the detentions, and this thing should be the main way of how it should be looked at. Other area which I want my all regional officers and the people in the railways to know that you spend more time in innovations in this direction to explore better methods of improving and system reliability. It is possible to do. As a part of the innovations, only this our own RDSO developed the LED signals in '98, which are at that time with the signal fusing was one of the major problems we have in country. Today is a things of the past. LED signals have given us a big solace for better maintenance system. Similarly, integrated power supply came, which helped us a lot. Otherwise, we had large number of chargers, batteries, which our maintainers were finding it difficult to maintain. Today, the integrated power supplies have helped us a lot in accommodating and ensuring that the system behaves properly in the stations. And now same, the TCAS, which RDSO has developed, is still under trial. This is an innovation which is quite encouraging. This needs to be expanded and appropriately adopted. Other area of operation, cost of operations is improve the maintenance mobility. See, wherever most of the staff, our S&D staff, signaling staff rather, are moving by the trains, scheduled trains, for the maintenance of the various stations where they have got 3 or 4 stations or more sections station to be maintained. Wherever I discuss with the provision of automatic signaling with the CSTs and all this thing, they have been reluctant to say that we will not get the requisite signaling staff for maintenance of the automatic signaling. I personally believe we have to change our thinking method. Let the existing signaling staff be put on appropriate vehicles, grouped, taken to the various places for work as a group maintenance, and the mobility is available. They need not depend on the movement by the train. This group maintenance is one of the very good methods which can help us a lot throughout the country. I'll give you an example. When I was working at CST Aqaba Railway Corporation in Jordan, it's a very small section, only 230 kilometers of section, and from Rice we were asked to do the maintenance. Surprisingly, they had about 12 technicians who were already trained by some UK company how to maintain, but they were not allowed to maintain. We made the groups. We said that okay, this will be done. As normally we said that each technician will have one helper to assist him. So I made the plan and gave to the Director General. He simply cut the group D staff or helpers. He said no, in this country we will not use it. I said, sir, it will be expensive because there are times when the technicians require 2 people have to be there to help each other. He said, nothing doing. If you want 2 people, then you have 2 technicians rather than 1 technician, 1 helper. I mentioned it is costly. He said, doesn't matter, it's my money, I will do it. We accepted it. Subsequently found the utility of this. Both technicians are going together with my supervisor from Indian Railways. They are carrying their own tools. They cannot ask the other fellow to carry my tool. Second, if by chance one technician is absent or sick or not come, other technician cannot say, I cannot do anything. It proved to be very useful. I feel strongly that this method of working, of maintenance, we have to think on the Indian Railways seriously about this. Another area where we lack badly is filling up the vacancies. I've always believed that if a vacancy is there, you must conduct the proper trade tests, selections well in time so that there is no vacancy anywhere. If a vacancy is existing for a long period, rest assured it is not required. It can be surrendered right for, and if you cannot afford to surrender, then better fill it up well in time. Another area about the project execution where we lack badly. I feel sorry that to know that projects are sanctioned which last for years and years together. And it doesn't help. Now the project execution, in charge of the project, whoever is, at whatever level is there, he has to be fully involved in ensuring that the materials are reached well in time, initial design is available, and whatever is suffering today is because of lack of focused planning. One example I'd like to give you, when I was DST Construction in Ahmedabad, I had a job of commissioning of RRI at Mehsana on between Ahmedabad, Delhi section. It was a medium-sized junction station with 5 directions of these 70 points, 5 types of block instruments. I was very keen to provide the cable laying in a proper manner. We designed the cable laying for the entire yard. It took me almost a month to prepare. And we made sure that whatever cables are available with the CSI, only they are used. Then I discussed with the CSI in charge. I called him in my office. I said, no, the cabling has to be started. How much time do you think it will take? He said, 5-6 months, I'll complete. I simply smiled. I said, my calculation says we can do it in 24 days. He said, no, it doesn't happen. I said, okay, let's work out. You have got 32 labor with you. How much trenching per day they can do? We gave an error of margin and then worked out. Then in his presence, including 3 or 4 rest days, it came to 26 days. Again, he said, sir, it will not happen. I said, doesn't matter, it is between you and me. Let us give it a trial. Because nobody is asking me to do it. I am only wanting to do that, we should do it. And he sincerely did it. And we completed the entire job in 32 days. Why I want to raise this point is that this is an area where the in charge of the projects are not involving themselves. They employ the contractor, asking to start digging the trenches when the cables are not in sight. That's not the way. We have to be very, very cautious on this. Initial designs, we have to be very thorough. So much so, I'll give one example in Aqaba Railway Corporation again. We are given a contract to a UK-based firm for establishing RRI in 5 stations. RRI means very small stations, 5 stations, 3-line stations and all that. They first saw to it that all the signaling plans, circuit diagrams are approved by the railways. Then whatever materials were required to be procured, they procured in Europe and took it their Chippenham factory in UK, made a full container of it. When the container was shipped, one person came from UK to our Jordan. He made a survey. He made a survey of the whole section to provide the cable laying, where to put the cables, where to put the signals, where to put those location boxes, and went back. And when these people, the container was shipped from there, 2 people came from there. They employed a local contractor to dig the cable trenches, provide the foundations for the signals and the operator cases. And the cables came, they made this labor for laying the cables and put it in the location boxes. And those 2 people did all the wiring inside and outside. And within 1 month, the station was commissioned. That's the way the planning is. We are nowhere near this. Another example, which I like to say, as MD Realtel, when I started on this, working on the optical fiber cable, it was a big task. We are supposed to lay the OFC cable for the entire Indian Railways. And we had a plan, what our railways are doing, what our RE is doing, what our Realtel themselves can do. We planned it in a manner that in April 2002 to April 2003, we were laying 800 kilometers per month of the OFC cable throughout the country. That's how we could achieve all these targets. So my focus is that a proper planning at the highest level in the railways, especially the project in charge, is very, very important. And without that, you cannot achieve the cost. And if your project is executed well in time, you save a lot of money. So I personally feel that no signaling work should take more than 2-3 years. Some people say that, we have completed the works in 10 years, 11 years and full. It means that somewhere we have messed up. And that is where the problem comes. We should make sure that the planning is done in such a manner that whatever we visualize in the execution of the project is completed well in time. Another area which we lack badly is changeover from old signaling system to new signaling system when installed. There is a general impression that we take 15 to 20 days of non-interlock working of any major yards. I was taught by one of my CSTs how to do it faster. When we were doing this Meshana, all the staff which was available with me, they are not seeing even the colored signals and the point machines. We worked with them. Then the CST Opalite once came and visited us, and when we are almost ready for the commissioning, he said, how much time you will take for commissioning non-interlock working? I said that with my staff, 7 to 8 days will be due. He said, in suburban section, you have been working in suburban section, we are doing in 4 days. I say, yes, I don't have the manpower available with me, but if he had the manpower which I want, hands down 4 days. He said, yes, you'll get all the people for working for 4 days. Then he saw the planning which we were given. And he said, Chopra, I think you can do it in 3 days. I said, okay, sir, I'll try. So when he went back, I told all my people, I said, the chief wants 3 days. If I do it in 3 days, what I have done? Nothing. I would like to do it in 1 day. And people were shocked. He said, no, it cannot be done. I said, no, let us plan it. We distributed the work in such a manner. We really did it in 1 day of TW and 6.5 hours of the changeover. That still remains a record on the Indian Railways. That changeover has been done so smoothly. Now later on, Delhi division, Delhi RRI and Howrah RRI were done much faster. Yes, but it is not come as a practice. It is not made a habit that ascent engineers should do the changeover in the minimum possible time. This should be one of the missions with all the people, that work has to be completed within the least possible time so that the traffic is not interrupted. Now coming to the business, which we are thinking a lot, how to increase the business. Last year in one of the presentations, one of the retired MTs, member traffic, he mentioned the Indian Railway funds 28 crores per day due to cancellation of the reservation for IR's inability to provide confirmed reservation. Yearly opportunity loss is 10,000 crores. It hurt me a lot. I mean, we Indian Railways are supposed to be, let's say we are a very big shop. A customer comes to me, says, hey, please give me this thing. I say, no, why you come to me? Go to adjacent shop. Does it look nice? we are refusing the business which is coming to us at our doorsteps. Why? We are unable to carry. We are unable to provide the number of trains which are required. This is the basic problem which the IR is facing. So it is my vision statement. I repeated number of forums. The Indian Railway should carry all the offered freight, passenger and parcel traffic efficiently, safely, and to the full satisfaction of its customers. If we have the vision statement as a railwayman, things will change of their own. Because as a railwayman, we know what is to be done. Parcel traffic, you know all very well, was stopped in 1983. When the Indian Railway decided that we should only carry the bulk traffic, because parcel traffic and the small wagon traffic is a impediment and it causes more losses. I was happy to know during this lockdown period, railways have started running the parcel traffic from end to end many cities efficiently. This is where it should be. But in normal course, they are not able to run because of the line capacity constraints. So IR is suffering because of the line capacity constraints and their poor utilization of the rolling stock. There is no prioritization for enhancing line capacity with better signaling and communication technologies. This is where my focus is. That today's technology is so good, so efficient, that S&T can provide any challenge to the various methods which are being adopted. So, my suggestion to all the S&T engineers today is, whomsoever to discuss, whether it's the ADRM or the DRM or the AGM or the general manager, you should have only one voice. Modernization of S&T system in the IR network should be done extensively to meet the challenge of capturing all the traffic. I'm not saying that this I have never done, I have done it. When 1997 I took over as CST Western Railway, there was a proposal to have a third line between Virar to Dhanu Road. And the general manager was a civil engineer. Although all the works program had already gone by that time. So I mentioned to him, sir, this is a wrong decision. The third line for Virar to Dhanu will not help anything. Ultimately, the public wants the suburban traffic to be extended up to Dhanu Road, a distance of 30 kilometers. He said, what's to be done? I said, you do for automatic signaling. So he understood the problem. I said, there are two major bridges in that section, and you'll take 10 years to construct. By the time, the public will not wait for you. He appreciated that point. And you will not believe, in spite of all the works program had gone, he made sure that the work was included in the same year's works program in February as a Virar-Dhanu automatic block. CRB and FC had come to Bombay. They questioned me why it should be done. I explained to them. And now see, almost 23 years have passed. Automatic signaling is functioning. And third line is no more there. So that is the achievement of our thinking. This is where my request to all the S&T engineers are, that you should be in one voice, talk about this so that the management understands. Today we have got our own members S&T available. The minister is very enthusiastic to, induct new technologies, and we should take the opportunities to give them the right guidance what to do. So task ahead, I have just put in 4 categories: signal engineers, telecom engineers, RDSO, and industry. I'll take one by one. Signal engineers planning for the line capacity. Now the computer simulation, we heard in 90s that the computer simulators are available, which you never knew, which you never tried. I've been asking when I was doing this Dhamra work, I wanted to have computer simulation because they were initially going for doubling. Then I said, no, go for the automatic block and CTC. They accepted for the CTC, they say automatic block they will do later on. Of my own hunch, I said, if you have single line CTC working with automatic block, you should be in a position to run 40 trains each way. I read somewhere, but no way to prove. Last year, this opportunity came to me. Konkan Railway were planning for partial doubling of 140 kilometers on that road to Mangalore section. So I argued is for the cost of 5,000 crores. I argued with them. I say how this partial doubling will help. You tell me we should provide a simulation because today a simulation is available with a company in Hyderabad. We'll try on this. It was agreed. We offered free of charge for trying out the simulation. It took us 4 months to do it. Unfortunately, operating people never participated. We did of our own. We prepared a complete role plan of our own for all the stations, increase the number of loop lines at intermediate stations to as much as possible, and then provide the signaling systems for all the stations and ran on the computer simulation. The result was fabulous. Presently, Konkan Railway is running about 22 trains each way. We could prove they can run 35 trains each way. Of course, the timetables could not be adjusted because the traffic officers are not associated. And the presentation was given to the Konkan Railway. They dropped the work of the partial doubling, but have been hesitant to accept the proposal of the CTC in the automatic block for the entire section. Now it costs 1,100 crores, which I estimated, but they are still thinking of it. My submission to you, all of you, is that we have to be very, very aggressive on these lines. Now, simulations are available within the country. We can try it. RDSO can try it. Other people, companies can try it. But make sure before any proposal for the doubling or third line or quadrupling is given, signaling solutions are exhausted first before going for the costly options. Another area which I've been very strongly feeling of late, remove all the existing block instruments, single line or double line, wherever they are. We have provided block primary axle counters in the most of the sections. I don't have the exact numbers, but I'm told that almost all the major sections are covered. But RDSO has developed a separate module for the block primary axle counter, which the station master operates, and then it is taken to the panel, and then the signals are clear. Why those modules are required? The station master should be able to press straightaway advanced order and exit. System should check of his own. Line clear should be granted and signal clear. That's it. If you remove the block instruments, you are doing two things. One, removing the failure rates of the block instruments, especially for the SGE or the localness blocks, and making the system much more reliable and speedier. Will save time. And any time saved in the train operations is the enhancing of the line capacity. So this is an area where we have to work very extensively. When I say extensively, it doesn't mean that you have to sanction the works. I'm reminding of the case in the Kota Division, when I was working as CP of Western Railway. Some awards used to start coming from the Kota Division for the signaling staff. I asked the CSD what is happening. He said, no, in Kota Division, when the railway electrification was done, earlier we had a central cabin operating with the double wire. Operating people wanted the control panel to remain in the cabin, and SM should give the slide control to the cabin. They didn't want to reduce the staff. The entire section was provided with this. So one of the general manager, in his visit to the inspection of the station, he said, what is this? Why this panel is not in the station master's room? He said, no, this is the system we have adopted. He said, no. He asked the section signal inspector sitting at the station. He said, can't this be shifted to the ASM panel? He said, yes, it can be shifted. What materials you require? He said, I may require some small cables and that's it. He said, how much time you take? He said, maybe in 2 weeks I'll complete. within your own people? Yes, sir, I'll do. He said, if you do it, I'll give you 5,000 rupees as a group award. It's somewhere in 93, 94. They did it. And then GM ordered all the signal inspectors of the maintenance should work out. There, shift these panels from cabin to the panel ASM's room. At every station, the people will get 5,000 rupees as a group award. Believe me, in 6 months, right from Mathura to Nagda, all jobs were done without sanctioning of any money, by in the open line, by our own staff. That is the capability we have. Same thing I expect for the removal of the block instruments. Let the standard circuits be prepared for the single line and the double line sections, operated from the pen interlock or the electronic interlock or videos, wherever you want, single line or double line, remove it. And once the standardization is there, I personally believe there is not much of a work. Our signaling staff at the station, opening staff themselves will be able to do it. If you are able to complete this work well in time, rest assured, commissioning of the CTC becomes very simple. You can imagine what I'm talking. Now, the centralized traffic control, which used to be a phobia. Our resident engineers, whenever we talk, he said, no, operating people don't like CTC. I said, don't like, doesn't matter, but it has to come someday. And except for that Gorakhpur, Chhapra and New Bongaigaon, Guwahati, Indian Railway never saw a CTC except for a small section in the Southern Railway in the suburban section. But CTC was never encouraged. With a lot of issues, then the KfW sanctioned loan from Ghaziabad to Kanpur. The CTC work has come. It has taken its own time to complete. So when I got the opportunity to work at Dhamra Port, I was very keen, at least as a private organization, let me have my satisfaction of doing the CTC. There's a lot of opposition within my own company, own colleagues, and the East Coast Railway. Nobody was agreeing. It's only the Vice President of Dhamra Port, he understood. He said, sir, don't bother about the automatic block of the single line. CTC I understand because I will save on hiring of the station staff at the intermediate stations. And with the help of Invesis, we commissioned the first CTC in 2011 and is functioning well. No block instrument there. Now when it came to this block instrument removal, a lot of problems came how to remove it, and the East Coast Railway will not accept it. I had to request Mr. Arun Saxena in the board to help, and he provided the logistics, and finally we commissioned. Now, this has to be the normal norm throughout the country. Wherever single line block instruments are removed, remove them. If electronic interlocking, pen interlocking is there, provide it. And the present CTC of the Ghaziabad, Kanpur, now CTC is there, I think it is deficient. Deficient in the sense that it has got 6 or 7 control panels controlling 7-8 stations, and 2 people are sitting on each panel, because there is no automatic prioritization. It has been my vision that when you have the CTC at a station, the priority of the trains should be already pre-fed. Whether it's a goods train or a passenger train or a mail express train or a Rajdhani or Shatabdi, whatever, their prioritization should be known. And depending upon the actual train running at that time, the system should decide the overtaking of the trains, where they are required, and how to overtake them, how to prioritize them. This will be a great help, because so many manpower for the CTC is not necessary. Basically, if you reduce the manpower operations, you will improve the system reliability, because you are depending more on the systems rather than on the individual people. Because when you human beings are operating, there is a reaction time for them to operate. There is a reaction time for them to work out. So it takes its own time. So whether it is a single line or a double line, CTC and automatic block has to be formed part of the systems throughout the country. And you see the number of trains you'll be able to run. While doing so, it becomes more important when the trains are running one after the other, or the crossings have to be done. It will be necessary to have more loop lines at the intermediate stations, and more capacity at the terminal yards has to be created, so that you are able to feed the sections one after the other without waiting for the trains to berthing of the trains at the station. So these areas we have to focus very much, and I personally feel it is doable. You need not ask anybody today. The management at the top level is supportive of these ideas. It's only for we have to see that how to put them on this. Sorry. I'm not able to move this slide further. Yeah.
Sir,
Okay.
shall I take over,
Now
sir?
the other area.
Shall I take
Okay,
over?
okay.
I think you got it, sir. You want to move? Yeah. I think next slide has come, sir. Technology 3.
Anything, Venkat?
No, sir. I mean,
Anything for me?
no, sir. Your slides are visible, sir. I think you're able to move now, sir. It has come.
No, now it is okay. Now it's okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Another area which while working for Dhamra we came across. Now we want to put the automatic block for the entire double line section, single line sections. We found a need for revision of the general rules. If you see the GRs of the automatic block, it says in the single line section, the line should be clear up to the next signal, there no overlap. But the double line section, the line has to be clear up to the next signal plus an overlap of 120 meters. Now the history of this is that the first CTC was pioneered in Gorakhpur Chhapra section. It came from the USA, and only after it was commissioned, no overlap was pioneered between the intermediate signals. Then the GR has to be framed for covering up the work which is already installed. But in the automatic block sections or double line, our existing practice of having overlap continued. But today I'm questioning. When a train is moving either in single line or in double line in automatic block, what difference does it make? The train has to move from yellow signal to the red signal, and that 120-meter difference or the block overlap really is not necessary. If you consider that a full train length is available and every 1 kilometer you have got the signals, you have 750-meter length of the train is standing as a signal, there is a natural gap of 250 meters will be available. Why prove it unnecessarily? We are spending a lot of money and in wiring those 120 meter overlap, putting the axle counter counts and circuits and the cables, which really are not required. Last year, I requested Railway Board in writing that the GR needs modification to remove overlap in double line section automatic block and be in conformity with the single line automatic block. it will save substantially lot of cost to all of us. This is still under consideration. I hope someday it will be provided. But if all of you agree on this thing, this needs to be pursued at various levels so that it will help us a lot. First, that your automatic block works can be speedily done, your cost will be reduced, your failure points are reduced, your system reliability improves. So this has to be considered aggressively in the various locations. And once it is adopted, you'll see the difference that how many trains you are able to run and all this. One issue on this automatic block on the double line, I'd just like to mention that while working as CST Western Railway, Virar Danu was a part of the third line I could scuttle. Similar problem came on Surat to Baroda section with third line was proposed between Surat to Bharuch, which we successfully scuttled. Then for Valsad to Surat section, no, my wish was to provide the automatic signaling the entire section right from Bombay to Ahmedabad. So we worked out on Valsad to Surat section. There were a large number of level crossing gates. We proposed their interlocking. Second distance is already sanctioned for the section. And third, replacement of block instruments was already sanctioned. We combined all the three works. We prepared a role plan and proposed that if you go for the automatic signaling, all the three issues will be combined, and with a spending about 8 to 9 crores or so, you can do the automatic block in the section. Believe me, operating people themselves jumped at it. He says it's so cheap, then why should not have it? So like that, in bits and pieces, before I left Western, we had all the automatic blocks sanctioned from Virar to Ahmedabad. Many of the portions were on the S&D planner, which people don't accept, but it was done by replacement of the existing gadgets, including interlocking of the level crossing gates and replacing of the block instruments, like that. However, it took almost 12 years for the railway to complete the work. In 2011, it was done, 2011 or 12. Subsequently, when I asked Western Railway once, I said, this is my pet area, how much line capacity has increased? I was told that the operating people accepted that Virar Danu, the automatic block provides about 105 trains each way. I said, why 105 each trains? He said, they don't have many trains more than this. I said, no, I am asking the capacity. How many trains you will be able to run? They were not able to satisfy. I said, okay, Borivali to Virar is a suburban section, having double line is a quadruple in double line portion. What is the line capacity? He says, from operations are roughly about 250. I said, what goes wrong beyond Virar? What happens? Why the capacity reduces? For what purpose? Nobody questions it. My suggestion is that this is where the computer simulation will come in very handy. If a traffic department has said, this is my line capacity, we have to work out why, how he has worked out. And instead of going by their data, we should say, okay, let's do the computer simulation, run as many number of trains as you want, say how much capacity you are generating. So this is an area where we have to be cautious. We have provided automatic block signaling at many places, but never bothered how much capacity it is generating. We never pursue it vigorously. This has to be done so that we are able to provide appropriate methodology for working out the line capacity and prove that automatic signaling itself can run so many number of trains. And if you are able to run number of trains in any section, I personally feel You should be able to run trains on demand. Let the people come to the station, get a result combination and go. Why have waitlisting at all? We have to have that much of capacity generation through this thing. These two technologies will be able to provide effectively. Now, it's my firm opinion that we have to oppose third line projects seriously. Not for the sake of, we don't like it. It doesn't help. No, I have never liked it, but then I have to associate myself as a part of the consultant for third line project on Palwal Mathura section for the RVNL project. Now see, my theory is simple. In a single line section, we agree that the single line section can take about 23 to 24 or 25 days each way, not beyond this. But if you combine the single line section with the double line section, operating people insist that I must have the arrangements from this single line to go to the double line and double line to go to the third line. I want to have the flexibility, which you cannot refuse. You provide all the flexibilities. And with all the flexibility being provided, you find that single line section line capacity will never go beyond 17 to 18 days each way. You make an investment of about 300, 400 crores for a section of 70, 80 kilometers and achieve 70, 80 kilometers. Instead of that, we have to go, if after having automatic block, if a section becomes saturated, you have to straightway go for the quadrupling of the section rather than for going for the third line projects. Now the partial quadrupling, this figure, I don't know whether all of you will be able to reach it. Just visualize that you have a double line section with one loop line on each side, and there are sections of 9 kilometers, 12 kilometers, 40, various lengths available. And assume that the main line is already provided with automatic block and CTC, and you require to enhance further line capacity of section. My idea is that to extend the loop lines of the stations in the length of 1 kilometer into the block section and provide a crossover there. With the object controllers available today, is very easy. You can operate a point wherever it is there. There's no problem. Reduce the block sections. Now imagine if your automatic block and the CTC, or even in the loop lines, a slow train or goods train is moving, take it on the loop line, allow the faster trains to move around on the main line, and the slow train on the loop line can continue to move on the loop line, and after 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers, it can come back on the main line and follow it. The precedences become easier without delaying even the loop lines. The crisscross movement is not there. And as the things have it, you keep on extending these loop lines into the block sections, and one fine day you get a full quadrupling with the down slow, down fast, and up slow. With all automatic block on all the 4 lines and the CTC working all the 4 lines. You please imagine, of course, if you want to have the additional loop lines at the stations, I'm not talking on this, that can be part of it. But this is the way, the partial quadrupling, when you do it, you will save a lot of money and the time. And whatever you have commissioned can be put to use straight away. So this concept needs to be adopted. And very recently, DFCC has floated a tender on Kharagpur Vijayawada section for separate corridor, for separate freight corridor. I had written to the board as well as to the DFCC that Kharagpur-Vijayawada section is itself a freight-oriented railway section. There are more freight trains running on the section than the passenger trains. Why have a separate corridor for that portion? You will have to acquire a lot of land, and it will take hell of a time to commission. Consider the option of partial quadrupling of the entire section from Kharagpur to Vijayawada. Whichever portion you commission in partial quadrupling, you are in a position to make use of it. And once you use it, it's put into use. So the traffic is growing, you are able to make use of it, your investment is appropriately utilized, and you need not have a separate corridor only for that section. It's not only Kharagpur-Vijayawada. I feel that partial quadrupling concept can be adopted in the entire double line sections which are choked, which need enhancement, and everybody at all levels should consider this option seriously. So this is what I have just explained to you. And those who are involved with this scheme may like to pursue it suitably. Now I'll come to the induction of the onboard technology for ETCS, which RailTel is already pursuing for 4 sections. This is an area which has been badly delayed by the Indian Railways since ages. My first encounter was when I was working at DST Bombay Central in 1973, when during the rains, all tracks are filled, the motorman who passing signals the danger, an EMU train driver, assuming that I have to go by on my own, he passed the signal danger and collided with a train in the rear near Malad, where 14 people got killed. I was questioned by the CRS, and he said, how do we stop it? I said, sir, the only method to stop is that you have automatic warning system, auxiliary warning system. Drivers will not obey, they will always be disobeying it. You have to go for it. On his recommendations, the Western Railway did sanction the AWS section in 1974. It took 15 years for commissioning. He finally got commissioned in 1989. Okay, today, both Central and Western Railways have got this AWS system, but I feel this is obsolete, need to change. But in spite of my pursuing it vigorously, even while in the railway board, as ED signals, we could not persuade people to accept AWS system for the mainline trains. It came in fits and starts, and the people in the management said, we don't have this kind of money. Some people said the drivers will become complacent. I feel this was all misplaced. Now, at least the railways have agreed to go for the ETCS level 2. And my simple argument has been given when we talk to this is this. Supposing you have got a Mercedes car and you gave it to the various people, some youngsters, some middle-aged, some old people, everybody will not drive on the same road with the same speed. Some will be cautious, some will be rash, so the speeds will vary. This is what happens with the trains also. All the drivers which are operating these trains, they are not sure, especially the goods train drivers, freight train drivers, they're not sure about their brake power. So they are very cautious. If they are cautious, they are running at a slow speed. And if they're running slow speed, you are eating the line capacity. This technology of ETCS level 2, where it's given to the locomotive, it provides the proper indication to the driver at what speed he can go comfortably based on the brake power and the region on which he is working, it gives him the confidence. It will definitely improve the line capacity also considerably. It has taken a lot of time for the railways to accept this, but this has to come. We cannot go on postponing it for a long time. Now, in the ETCS level 2, I am working with the DFCC. They have gone for the ETCS level 1, where the balances are put on the track, which initially, before start of the work, I said, why can't you go for ETCS level 2? They said that ETCS level 2, if it's adopted, GSMR is required, which is obsolete. LT is not yet tried. So we don't want to do this. You focus only on ETCS level 1. Western Corridor, they have already adopted and work is in progress. Eastern Corridor, I am working on this. But the good thing is that locomotive equipment for ETCS level 1 and level 2 is same. It will work for both. So that will help. In between, now the RDSO has developed TCAS. I believe it has come in the South Central Railway. I asked people in the board, what is the option if TCAS is successful? Yes, it is partially successful. It's all done. I think 1,200 kilometers of sanction also. Now my question comes is, if a locomotive is equipped with the ETCS 2, it cannot go in TCAS territory. Or locomotive equipped with TCAS cannot go in the ETCS level territory. This handicap is going to come in a big way. It is time now the signal engineers consider it that the locomotive equipment is fit for both TCAS as well as ETCS 2. Brake power will remain the same, only the transmission level will be different. You have to find a place, and once it is done, whether you go for TCAS or ETCS level 2, I think in due course of time, if TCAS successful is done, the prices of ETCS also will come down. And it should be, this is a challenge to RDSO as well as our signal engineers, how to see that both the technologies flourish side by side and for the good advantage. I hope that TCAS will not be dumped, and so ETCS will not be dumped. Both have to go. Let us first commission both the systems as quickly as possible, see the advantages and better this thing, and then start working simultaneously. RDSO will have to play a big role in this to see that the proper space is provided, how both the technologies on the same locomotive can be put without causing any serious problems. Now, coming back to the signal communication engineers. I am very happy that at least the RailTel has now come up to a stage where they can provide a sufficient and reliable bandwidth. At the time when we started this work, being a signal engineer, I was not very sure that how OFC laying and the communication will succeed. But I was aggressive. I said we must make it a success. It is necessary that we prepare the business plan for the all India basis. And at that stage itself, we decided that every station we should have the huge bandwidth to be dropped. STM1 was the minimum, and after every third or fourth station, STM4, then supported by another fiber for STM16. Today, I'm told that EWDM is being provided, so bandwidth is not an issue. And this is a huge bandwidth which is coming in a big way as a help to the Indian Railways also. But the area which is still missing is the TAIN mobile communication. Now we have adopted all the technologies, but the TAIN mobile communication, the manner which is being used by the international railways is yet to be adopted seriously. We have provided mobile telephones to the drivers so that it meets with your requirement. I'll consider it as a basic jugaad rather than the proper system. I strongly feel that the TAIN mobile communication should also become part of the locomotive equipment. And with the LTE getting successful with the trials for the ETCS level 2, let this be provided as well. For TAIN mobile communication, I had a different concept also. Somehow it has not been accepted. It is that the backbone of the TAIN mobile communication should be provided by the private operators, maybe BSNL or Airtel or the Jio or whomsoever is there. And railway should be the user, with having the that if the technology operation takes place, is those the backbone provider has to do this change? I have not to do. We sanctioned the GSMR for Delhi to Mughalsarai. Almost, I think, more than 700 crore rupees. And still, we cannot vouch it is functioning well. And technology has changed. We have gone to the LTEs and all this thing. If this arrangement has been accepted, this change which naturally have come, if the things are changing from 3G to 4G to 5G, the service provider as his own business should be able to do. We have to let conditions of the service reliability to the service providers, ensure that availability is there, and also ensure in crisis of the train accidents in the midsection, where everybody starts using the mobile communication. The communication which is provided for the railway portion, for the driver guard, etc., gets the priority than the public transport. If you have taken this case, it will be fine. You will be able to do this. Another area which it was visualized that we should see when the train accidents happen, everybody rushes to the site, including top management. They want to see what has happened and all this. When the senior people come to the site restoration work does get suffer. I have seen as a junior officer, I have seen as a senior officer. Supposing the accident relief trains have got the video cameras, etc., the moment the relief train or the medical van reaches there, you put the video cameras linked up with the nearest level crossing gates to the Wi-Fi and start streaming the information. The top management in the railways in the division will know what is happening precisely, will be able to take appropriate decisions, guide, and the people who are at the site will have a more free hand to do the work without any frequent comments of what is happening and all this. This is yet to be adopted, is an area where the communication engineers must come up and provide that arrangement. This is one an area about when I took over as the MD RailTel, I suggested that computerized train reservation system online. That means the TTs who are carrying the charts with them need not take it. They should carry handheld equipment, and the PNR ticket should be just scanned, and this says is fine. before the people board issues can find. It will help a lot. The last minute after the charts are printed, the public is at loss if some cancellation taken place, whether they can get these tickets or not. But if it's fully computerized, there should be no problem because it has to be get registered. If some vacant berth is there, at the next stopping station, the people will, the ticket will get allotted. Seat will get allotted to somebody else. We have to make it a system totally reliable on this. This gap is still there, and I strongly feel that we have to, Chris and the other people have to work on this. And I do believe that the asset engineers are getting associated with the Chris very closely. This is a challenge which that can be accepted and adopted. One more area is about the passes what we all used. While working as a CPO of Western Railway, I suggested once, I said we should have all the metal pass, card pass should be abundant, and we should have the digital pass available to all employees. A lot of officers, the objective says, no, kya baat kar rahe ho? Aisa, you can't have this type. But I still feel now after retirement, I feel that this has to be done. Imagine today, if I have to get a pass issued, if I want to travel, I have to first go to the pass issuing authority to get a pass issued, then go to the reservation office to get the reservation made, then request somebody for the allotment of the quota if it's not getting confirmed. Is a time-consuming job. It's my visualization that each employee of the Indian Railways should be issued with a digital pass, like a credit card or PAN card number size. It should be linked with their Aadhaar cards, along with their family details. And all passes which are being issued or being withdrawn. The color of this pass can be based on the status of the officer who is there. Now you want to make a reservation. You can make reservation online via IRCTC's website. By whether you want to travel on duty, you can say duty. If you want to travel on your pass, your previous pass details are known. Make a reservation and go. You want VIP quota, you request online for the concerned parties for the VIP quota, and that's it. Need not travel anywhere. The advantage of this arrangement will be you save a huge manpower today who are doing only the issuing of the passes. Of course, some of them will be required for continuously upgradation of those passes because if the officer gets promoted, he gets changed. So those personal officers will have to change it. That status will be there. But imagine the misuse of the passes which is happening today will go away. If an officer or an employee, instead of using his privilege pass, using his duty pass, it will be known to his boss he has used his duty pass in such a way, whether he's taken permission or not, it will be known. So those things come in a big way to check up and see that it is appropriately controlled. This proposal initially I sent in a part of an article. Last year I sent it as a request letter to the chairman railway board, and I was told that the Railtel is making filing system. I requested CMD Railtel also to consider this option because all of us are going to retire one day. Even for the working people, especially you imagine the staff who are in the ground level, they have their own difficulties. If we are able to provide that they can book their reservation or ticket online through their mobile telephone, that's it. It's an excellent thing to happen. why we should not encourage this thing. Technology is available today, and is our need, and it may perhaps, is my assessment, it will perhaps ensure that proper use of these passes is available not only for the rail employees but also for those all people who are freedom fighters, member parliaments, who have been given free passes by the government. They should also come under this category, so that a proper record is maintained, and just show the pass and go away, it doesn't happen. So with this pass, invariably, even if you have to travel unreserved, you have to buy a ticket or get a ticket issued from the computer system. Without this, it will be invalid. Third area about the Wi-Fi. Last year, the RailTel has done a wonderful, good job for providing Wi-Fi at more than 5,000 stations. Right from the beginning, when we started RailTel Corporation, it was part of one of our business plans that we should provide Wi-Fi not only at the station but also in the trains. And we have visualized it should be linked with the PNR of the passenger tickets. But if you provide free, it's subject to heavy misuse and unnecessary strain on the system. If you link with the passenger PNR of the trains, you may put product qualities there that 3 hours before the departure of the train it becomes effective, and 2 hours after arrival of the train it remains still effective. Those parameters can be given. And from the PNR, at least some revenue from the ticket should be given for the provision of the service. This will become a good arrangement for providing the system reliably, because please appreciate that anything which is given free, if it's not linked with the revenue, in due course of time it becomes useless. It will start failing because people will not worry about it. And then if the revenue generation is not there, the organization which is maintaining it will stop using it. So this needs to be appreciated and viewed. Another challenge for the communication engineer is to provide extensive CCTV coverage on all platforms, footway bridges, level crossing gates, and supported by the public address system. Both are required. I have seen in one of during my foreign travels, these arrangements, they say we have got an extensive CCTV coverage. The station was isolated. I said, don't you feel that the passengers feel insecure? They said, no. If the CCTV is being continuously monitored, if something is wrong, the public address is available, and some people are doing wrong thing, they can announce immediately public address, you are being watched, and there'll be policemen waiting for him outside. So if you have the CCTV coverage, it should be properly monitored and regulated with a supported public address system, so that the arrangement is not misused and is properly covered for the entire area. Same thing for level crossing gates. The level crossing gates, if this robust system available for level crossing gates with the public address system, it will reduce a lot of pressure on the gatemen wherever they are existing. In LC gate, we have got the bandwidth available, so should not be issue on this. And these things can be linked with the nearest police station or nearest hospitals. In case an accident happens, we should be able to use it, see the gravity of the situation, ask for the ambulances, send the people there and help them in whichever manner you want. Next, about the passenger information system, like coach guidance system. Now, we are the first one to introduce coach guidance system in Bombay Central in 1998. It was good response. I visualized that in the coach guidance system, once a train is already formed in the starting place, this data should get transferred to the next stopping station and display so that people are able to realign themselves about the coach position and should be able to attend. Somehow it's done, but in many locations, the coach indication and the ground reality do not tally. The equipment has been hung just where the hanging facility is available. This has to be rectified because it doesn't give you appropriate confidence to the public. If the coach guidance system is also linked with the data loggers for the train running, etc., nobody need to touch anywhere. Information will come, which platform the train is coming, what time is coming, and how this train will, where each coach is there, will get position, will know without any difficulty. This is my vision item number 3, entertainment in the trains in line with the airlines. Not in the airlines, it should be ahead of this. Trains should be able to provide live TV coverage, which airlines cannot do. Now, today's technology and the bandwidth available and the coverage available, is it possible to do? And we should do it as quickly as possible so that in trains like Shatabdi Express, at least, you encourage people to travel in the Shatabdi trains to know the entertainment is also there and they will not feel the pinch of the travel time. Actively participate in making the railways paperless organization. We have to come out of the file system, traditional file system and all this thing. I understand RailTel is already working on it. They already made good progress. This has to be vigorously followed all over. Why a physical file has to travel from one table to another table in any office? Whatever you want to write, it should come on your computer, give your comments. You should put digital sign and send it to the next person. That's it. And you'll save a lot of efforts in your maintenance of the file. And whosoever is the controller of the file, he may take the print of all the pages and keep with him and made a journal file is fine. But we have to work out on this line very extensively. And we should be able to provide this. Along with this, I will say that the data for the employees which are sent for the medical care, where we can help a lot, that we have got the employees throughout the Indian Railways, we have got our own hospitals, dispensaries. We have to have our computer systems where the entire data of each individual should be available so that whether Dr. A is there or B is there or C is there, he is able to see the history, not only one station, anywhere. Because once you put this card, his data should come there and he should be able to see this. This is an area on which we have to work. The last day I come to the RDSO. We have to encourage the RDSO, is our organization, to another level. They have to be encouraged to go for the new areas, new encouraged levels and find out what can be done for this. RDSO has done a wonderfully good job for integrated power supply, data loggers, LED signals, block primary access counters, and TCAS. But that should not be the limit. RDSO has to work very extensively in the various areas so that they are able to provide. A few areas which I say, explore indigenous CTC system. RDSO can make these specifications, and the CTC system need not be SIL4 compliant, because commands which are being given to the station signaling system, which is already covered appropriately. If by chance the wrong command comes, the signaling system will take care of it. So we can look for the CTC system. RDSO should work and encourage the Indian companies. I believe large number of sections have been sanctioned by the board for providing the CTC in various sections. And this has to be extensively done all over the places. Once you do this, you'll have a speedier compliance of the CTC, also for the standardized automatic block system with the circuits and the design. And the people should be able to follow it without any loss of time. The moment work is sanctioned, straight away go and pray. And the lastly, which I said, combined EDCS2 and TCAS system in the same loco, which should be a challenge. Apart from this, RDSO should do much more, which are coming from day-to-day basis. Ideas requiring detailed study can be referred to RDSO in a time-bound deliberations. Today, an impression is that, you want some assistance from RDSO, you write to them. There is no follow-up with those people. After seeing this GST Council functioning, I strongly felt that if RDSO is a nodal agency for us, for the signaling people, if a problem has occurred somewhere, RDSO can hold regular meetings. Now video conference is a in thing. Regular meeting with all the stakeholders or the CSTs or the manufacturers, and come to a decision faster. And don't wait, acha wo chithi likha hai, it will come. It should not happen. That the more quickly you are able to handle it, we will be able to get more decisions, and the whole organization will flourish like anything. And the RDSO officer should be exposed to the latest technology world over. The DG RDSO should have the competencies to send his people wherever they want for the sake of the knowledge and the same, so that they are always updated with the latest. Not only that, we should go ahead of the other countries so that we are able to work out more appropriately. Lastly, coming to the contractors and the PVC, these project management consultants. Now see, we have gone in a big way for transferring our, not using your railway's own staff, especially the technicians and the khalasis, and we have gone for the contractors and the project management consultants in a big way. The competency of these people is questionable. All these contractors and the PMC managements are using the retired signaling people, where the work is in a different place, it's difficult to handle. Already, IRSET has started issuing license for IRS-TLO. Many licenses have been issued. This has to be made mandatory. And organizations, when a contract is floated, they should say the youngsters should be encouraged for the training. They may get training in IRSET, they may take training in their private institutions, but they must pass the license, and then only the licensed people should be able to handle the contractors' work and the PMC work wherever they are. Only then the quality of work and the speed will improve. Otherwise, the railway staff who are supervising their work will have problems. Other area for the contractor and PMC is their cash flow issues. We should never overlook this. We prepare the tender documents ruthlessly, only to favor that, administration side there should be nothing wrong. We don't worry that how the cash flow of the contractors will be handle. And I can assure you, many contractors fail only because of the cash flow. The tender conditions are such that the work is not executed, payments are not arranged in time, and they start failing in their execution of the projects. And while GM core I was functioning, I told all my PHODs, don't treat contractors as contractors. They are your associates. Without them, we cannot work. And if a contractor has a problem, this should get resolved by you as a management so that he considers himself as a part of your organization. He has to be given with the due respect so that, because if he fails, you fail. And if he flourishes, if he is able to deliver, it's only your name who comes up. So the deliberation today, I have presented quite few ideas to enhance the railway revenue. It may appear that how the revenue will increase, but each and every suggestion which I have made has a connotation. Either it will reduce your cost or it will increase your revenue. The S&D suggestions, investments have a low investments. If we work the quickly, we have got a quick and high returns. And people can add more ideas to this, because this is not the end of this. And IR has to consider these options if they want to remain ahead in the business, or else they work this business will shift to the airlines of the total. Thank you very much. If there are any questions which are there, I'm ready to answer. Mr. Ramanna can tell me. Thanks a lot.
Sir, I compiled all the as per your wish in a separate file. Now I can push that file, sir, so that you can see what the comments and the things have been raised by the participants. Yeah. So able to see, sir, my screen?
Yeah. I think my voice is reverberating. I have to reduce my volume.
Sir, you have to reduce your volume, sir. Echo is coming.
Advancement in S&T systems has to go hand in hand with rolling stock technology. How a framework for achieving this can be prepared in Indian Railways. See, I didn't touch this issue. I've been of the opinion that Indian Railways should go for the RFID schemes, where each rolling stock should be appropriately numbered, controlled, and the entire Indian Railways rolling stock should be known, and the assessments can be made how to make use of it. Secondly, the rolling stock locomotive we are already covered. So if those controlling of the rolling stock and management, efficient management, especially of where they are sick or they are working, or they are in the pits, even in the washing lines, the time has to be reduced considerably. So these are the area which should be done. Second question is, how is our railway approaching the 21st century requirements of our country? How can railways use technologies such as artificial intelligence, machine learning? See, artificial intelligence, I mentioned that it should become part of the CTC function. Let the system decide what you want to there. It should be covered there. And I feel artificial intelligence is an area, not only the CTC, wherever the signal engineers feel that we can, the people can delay or people can make mistakes, we should rely, and the repetitive work, we should go for the artificial intelligence. Next system, S&T items which shall provide direct tangible benefits may please be focused during the talk. I think I covered extensively on this, and how best you are able to use, it is up to you. how higher revenue is impacted by the S&T solutions. If we are able to run more number of trains, as simple as this, at least 10,000 crores which our railways are losing, you save that. And I think if we are able to say you run as many number of trains as you want, revenue will flow in. Model calculation of ROI, return on investment of the line capacity improvement projects. Well, you can, the issue is that the line capacity programs which have been given, simply decided you go for third line or double line or the quadruple and prepare the ROI. Nobody has ever said that first go for the computer simulation, decide what is the best option, and then go for the work out the rate of return, then you'll know this. Next question, I'm not able to read, Ramana. Just planning is more important than execution. Proper planning will help faster and smooth execution. I've covered this, yes. Santosh Gupta, Shok, nice to see you and hear your views as to how S&T can help. Achha, Gupta ji from our Jabalpur, our boss in Nair. Thank you, sir. Next, I had the same image of yours as I had seen you in RSC. Oh my God. Okay.
Can you hear me, Ashok?
Chandra ji,
Can you?
Yes, sir.
आप
We
सुन
can hear
सकते?
you, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I don't know whether you recognize me or not. I just want to ask you one question, that why are we not introducing automatic warning system? Because they're heavy anarchy during foggy conditions and we are not able to run our trains. तो क्या कर रहे हैं हम लोग?
See, for the S&T systems, for the AWS or whatever is there, there's a lot of opposition. Only now the things have started changing. And I'm very strongly hopeful that ETCS level 2 will come up in a big way. And the drivers drivers is one lot in the Indian Railways which have been neglected. We have never cared for their working. In my book, I mentioned when a driver is running the Rajdhani Express from Bombay to Delhi, he comes across the signal every 30 to 40 seconds. And we don't care. So this technology is a must. It has to be done. And I hope Saxena sir will succeed in introducing it as quickly as possible.
Actually, I had filed a public interest litigation in the MP High
Just a minute, I'm not able to listen to you. Please tell me.
Pardon?
Sir, slowly speak, sir. Sir, Gupta sir, slowly
हाँ
can
जी।
speak, sir. Yes, sir. आप बात कर सकते हैं, sir. Slowly बात कर दीजिए, sir. Sir, Gupta sir, you want to ask something now, sir? Please go ahead, sir.
नहीं, मैं ये कह रहा था कि मैंने about 3-4 years back, I had filed a public interest litigation in MP High Court when the trains are being cancelled or detained very much because of foggy conditions. And I had said why railways are not introducing automatic warning system. Because I tell you, in 1972, when I went to British Railways on a program and I was traveling in the cab, the drivers were running at 100 miles per hour and the fog was very thick. So I asked him, "You are running so fast, there is so thick fog?" He said, "Sir, AWS has been introduced just now and I depend upon AWS. And I'll get the warning in time if the signal is a danger." So I don't know what are we doing? Either AWS or something else.
So this is where I just mentioned that ETCS level 2 is likely to get commissioned And ETCS level partly has been done on Delhi-Agra section. And now the Railway Board has focused that this technology has to be introduced. It has taken us a lot of time for us to convince the management. So it will come. And RDSO developed that TCAS system is also part of the AWS. I think a lot of stations, South Central Railway have been commissioned. And I think it will pick up in a big way in coming years.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Achana sir?
Sir Chopra sir.
चंदन जी आप बोलेंगे कुछ? आवाज नहीं आ रही.
आवाज नहीं आ रही.
चंदन जी, I think your mic is muted.
Yes sir. Yes sir. Sir, now speak on sir. Chandan sir, can you speak on sir now? Sir, you are having 4 devices. So which device you are using? I unmuted all sir. You can.
Anyway, this what question Mr. Chandan has asked, I can answer it.
Sir.
That now is the time we have to do the marketing. And this presentation of my today is in a step in that direction.
Sir, Chandan sir, your voice is not reaching, sir. Kindly check up your mic, sir. Your mic is unmuted, but still voice is not coming, sir. Sir, that is trying to say something. Voice is not reaching, sir.
Any other question, Ramana ji?
Yes, sir. Some more are there. Some more are there.
This aspect I have covered. OLAP. Partial quadrupling is definitely better. Okay, thank you. GSMR is outdated and totally inadequate for trained radio, and we should go for LTD. Yes. Saxena sir. Trial project of ETCS level 2 is proposed on the radio backbone based on 3 GPP release 14 LT with possibility of migrating to the upcoming FRMSC based on SG, which part of the supporting ETCS and MCTB services will also be used for DAT and drive condition monitoring and CCTV or security and surveillance. We hope to succeed. Saxena ji, if you can tell me what is the status of ETCS level 2, something has happened or not?
So this trial project of ETCS level 2 is spread over 4 different railways and about 650 route kilometers covering about 500 locomotives. So the radio backbone which we have indicated for is not GSMR, but it is the LTE 4G, which is based on the 3 GPP group release 14 specifications, and which has also the possibility of migrating into the future railway mobile communication system, which is called FRMCS, which is also based on 5G, which apart from taking care of ETCS requirement and the mission critical, that is the emergency calls, it will also take care of the data for condition monitoring and predictive maintenance, and CCTV for security. Just to that. And we have been able to do the reverse auction. Hopefully, we will be able to finalize the bids and shortly.
Reverse auction completed or not yet?
It was done yesterday, sir.
Achha, okay. Good luck.
Thank you.
Any other questions, sir?
Sure.
Digitization of passes can be achieved now that all the employees' data is being populated to the IRHMS. Pass accounts can be integrated into the HMS. It's great. But you see, this has to be done on all India basis. Action from the Railway Board will be necessary. Otherwise, individual divisions doing it will not help. Rashtradeep, in the integration process, is it possible to integrate data logger with electronics interlocking and inbuilt software and hardware module, as most of the data itself is available in maintenance PC and MTPC for analysis? No, I think this with electronic interlocking, the data loggers are already part of it. And whatever is not there in the electronic interlocking is supported from outside and is made into one unit. So in Dhamra, where we put as electronic interlocking at the stations, plus the power supply and the digital accelerometers, we combined it. It worked beautifully. Section the RDSO has drafted the requirement specification for CTC, TMS, RDSO, awaiting comments from the stakeholders. This is where I request the stakeholders should meet on weekly or monthly basis and finalize this, rather than waiting for 3 months or 6 months meeting. That's what I request. Like GST Council, they should meet and finalize. Mr. Sambir, traffic engineering shall be part of the capabilities required for a signal engineer. Of course, it is there. We know better than what traffic engineers know. All AI and IoT and machine learning could be effectively used for conditions. Next, sir.
Sir, a few more comments are there, sir. Just now.
Any other question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is coming.
Monitoring of predictive maintenance and AR/CR based remote guidance for troubleshooting and for skill development. See, monitoring of the predictive maintenance is there. Data logger helps you a lot. And my vision is that the data logger should be expanded further. What are you visualizing? You should be able to do this. And similarly, the troubleshooting guidance is there. Central did on the data logger to guide from the this thing. If the circuit is failing and they can able to tell where the problem is, they were able to do it. So it is the RDSO has to come up with the more utilization of the data logger, what is currently being done.
Sir, what I was trying to say.
CSR, we are building infrastructure for the latest technology without transfer of technology.
Sir, Chopra sir, 1 minute, sir.
Be fully dependent on OEM and our staff, not qualified to handle how to go about it. Yes, I agree on this thing. This area I did not cover, but in my articles I have done it. I feel the IRSET has to take a lead, that our signal engineers should be taught on the software engineering as well. And we should get involved deeply into the software engineering. Our people can do wherever is required. And the dependence on the original equipment manufacturers, especially for the electronic interlocking of the accelerometers, healthy side. Otherwise, if we go on depending so much on them, we'll all become irrelevant someday. Chandan, we should take up the challenge of condition monitoring of all railways assets. Of course, yes. Next, please. That's it.
That's it, sir. I think VP talk, sir. Sir, Chandan sir, your lot of volume is very high. Sir. Can you reduce the volume, sir?
It's covered. Anything, Ramana, anything else?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This is the only thing. I mean, all the questions have been answered. And from the participants, if anybody wants to, ask any more questions, the forum is open. Please go ahead. Sir, VP Chandan sir, sir, you have a problem with your speaker, mic. So, sir, it is adding a lot of echo, sir.
Okay.
Now it is audible, sir. Now it is audible, sir. Kindly speak, sir. Just your voice has come and gone. Maybe some loose connection. Yeah. Sir, I request all the participants to switch on their video for a moment. So those are willing to have a group photograph, just we can have it, sir. I request all the participants to switch on the video, unmute the video from your control panel, sir.
चंद्र जी आपका सिर्फ माथा दिख रहा, हाँ अभी ठीक है.
So, uh, and Karthik, Uppu, Mr. VNM Rao, Babu Vemala, yeah, please switch on. So, Rastadeep, you are with the mask. For a moment, you can remove the mask. And Chandrasekhar Shastri, VNM Rao, Koti, Bababali sir, can you switch on the video if you are willing to be in the part of group photos, sir? Yeah, because I have to take 2 shots because all participants may not come in the same frame.
Sir, I have joined through desktop, so I'm not able to join through camera.
Oh, it's okay, Shastri. Thank you very much, sir. I took the snapshot of you. I'll post in the group, sir. Fine. Sir, Goel, sir.
Venkat,
Sir.
before I think you conclude, I would like to compliment Sri Chopra.
Sir.
The vision of
Please,
it,
sir.
I've seen
Please,
for
sir.
the last 20 years.
Sir.
Just seeing my old emails, this the presentation which has been given today
Sir.
is referred to the last 20 years.
Sir.
And this he has been continuously and with all the vigor and
Sir.
determination following it up with at different levels. And
Sir.
that is things are happening. Let me
Sir.
let me assure him that ATP, that is automatic trade protection, which Mr. Gupta also pointed out, and the CTC and TMAS is going to be a big area of work for the next 20 years.
Sir.
And each of us has to contribute. I would like to compliment Mr. Chopra once again. Thank you so much.
Sir. So,
Thank you very much, Koji. Thank you.
So, anybody wants to share? Please. Sir, so Chopra sir, it is always really a pleasure to hear from you because I mean, mostly whatever you talk is a very practical. I mean, you are near to the reality, and then it is not something which is imaginary kind of way. I mean, ideas you have, sir. In fact, I was a Damra port when you were executing the work. In fact, I too had a lot of doubts that how a block can be integrated with the electronic interlocking system because it's a new idea. But I later came to know through Arun Saxena, sir, it was implemented already in the Southeastern Railway. So, in fact, that was a CTC on a single line on a EI with integrated block is a really trending projects. In fact, many people later asked me that even elsewhere in the world, also like South Africa, African countries and all, where they want to achieve economics, so they want to, want to go for this kind of this one. Projects. And sir, your ideas. You shared your experience, and it's really wondering, sir. Even at this age, you are very vigor and with vigor and this thing you will be participating and never said no to any of the ideas or any advices. You always there to share, sir. And sir, you covered all the gamuts right from the improving the project management to reach train on demand. And really, it's a lovely presentation, sir. And we look forward to more such presentations in future. Welcome, sir.
And thank you very much, Mr. Ramanna, for giving me this opportunity.
Sir.
And I feel very happy that you kept us engaged during this lockdown period. While sitting idle at home, we could do something.
Yes, sir.
So looking forward for any more
Sir.
assistance required from my side, we most welcome. Thank you
Sir.
very much, all of you.
I thank all the participants also for maintaining the etiquette of the forum, and then the presentation was, hardly has been interrupted, and it went on smoothly. I thanks once again all the participants and the speaker for today's session. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Nicely conducted and nice topic.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Yanam. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you for joining.